We are, for those of you who weren't with us last week, you know, we're pivoting in Rejuvi 45. And once we just have a chance to kind of zero in on the major idea for that, for any event, then we go into a tour. And it's rock, paper, scissors. We make a decision. Are we demoing a feature of Rejuvi, like our data and analytics capability? Are we showcasing a process, like how to run a 360 assessment, or a resource? And so we decided today on a resource, and that resource is an actual roadmap. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to log into the profile, and we're going to actually go into a resource that is going to help anyone that has access to the Rejuvi platform establish a beachhead initiative inside of their transformation initiative. So here we go. I'm going to log in. Actually, I want to do this. What would we do without these password services?
Yeah, I was having this conversation with somebody recently. Yeah, absolutely true.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm logging into the platform. I'm logging into the as an administrator. And so as an administrator, remember everyone, and especially for those of you who are seeing the platform for the first time, when you log into the Rejuvi platform, there are really multiple worlds. There's the executive leadership world, there's red, the sales leadership world, there's purple, there's the service leadership world, there's blue, which is the team leadership world, and coming soon, there will be the green world, which is designed for executive leaders. But let's just go into being the red world for sales
For
leaders.
first,
Okay.
yeah, expert leaders. Yeah, the green one
Expert
is.
leader. Yeah, what did I
Yeah,
say?
you said executive leaders. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
no,
Green
that's
is
all
for
right.
expert leaders. Yeah, Rejuvi expert. And so, so that's kind of one thing to know. And you're always given kind of these broad features around, are you trying to do some work with your leader population? Are you trying to do some data collection? Are you trying to do reporting and analytics work? Or are you really trying to do that training and development work that's dependent upon resources? And that's where we're going today. We're going into resources to go, and we're going to go into a folder for trusted partners, which would be for business leaders, leadership practitioners, coaches, that sort of thing. We're going into a folder called Blueprints, Roadmaps, and Guides. And, you know, Vid, I think more than anything, this folder, Blueprints, Roadmaps, and Guides, helps people to think about creating beachhead initiatives in different ways. Don't you think?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
if you were trying to, we're gonna actually go into the transformation one today, but if you were trying to, as the first thing, establish coaching cohorts across your operational line leaders, you would go to a blueprint.
Correct.
Right. So I think this whole folder, I'm just going to back up just a moment. This whole folder for everyone called Blueprints, Roadmaps, and Guides is really about helping
Yep.
you to understand, no matter what beachhead is right for you and your organization, Rejuvi has a resource to show you the critical path in order
Yep.
to kind of get that done, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's like the proverbial eating the elephant, right?
Yeah,
Piece by piece
exactly. Mhm.
is what it is. And if you came in here, absolutely. And this is where, when we said up front that we have many recommendations as to how to get started. For today's
Mhm.
purpose, we'll be talking about transformation, but this would be
Mhm.
the place to come and look at all those recommendations we have. Yeah.
Yes.
What are the different ways you can
Mhm.
actually get a foothold? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to your there, folks. You're going to see this file called Rejuvi JTBD, which means Jobs to Be Done Roadmap on Leading Change. We're just going to simply preview that, and there we've got it opened up. Everything coming through okay on your end, Vid?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, and so we're not going to spend too much time walking through all of the detail of this. But again, this is designed to help people to understand what to do if their Beachhead Modern Leadership Initiative was really trying to get started with a transformation initiative. And just really quickly, I'm going to go into this picture right here. And anytime that we start out in kind of jobs to be done roadmap, and in this case, of course, it's on leading change, we give people two things to think about. One is what's the modern leadership framework? Like, what are the things that you really need to be thinking about? And that's important to start there, because they're how would you say this? There's kind of some mindset shifts that allow you to get through leading change, get through the org effectiveness piece of your transformation initiative successfully, differently than you ever have in the past. And the second thing that this always includes is what's the modern leadership application, right? So any of these roadmaps are going to start here, whatever the topic is, on leading change, or another one would be on shifting the performance curve, or another one would be on scaling leadership at every level of your business. All of these are these roadmaps, and they're going to start out with a modern leadership framework, what to think about, and then on a modern leadership application. So I'm going to click on the modern leadership framework. And what I'm going to do here is not go into all of the detail. Rejuvi recommends in modern leadership transformations to make sure that you start with the work, you focus on the actual change, you plan for individual and team success, and you start to manage the risk that's associated with any single transformation initiative, right? Vid, what was that stat about the number of transformation efforts that actually fail?
Yeah, so it's estimated that 70% of all
Okay.
transformation efforts fail. And it's estimated in the United States, of the 1.8 trillion number that I just quoted a few minutes ago, if you translate that to the 70% number, about about 900 billion is wasted in transformation efforts in the United States alone.
Yep. Okay. So that said, if you click on change fails, I think this is worth just a little bit of a conversation. Part of our modern leadership framework is helping you to think about really understanding how much of a risk exists in your organization around the things that take transformation efforts down. So it's interesting, Vid, it's never the brilliance of the technology,
Yep.
right? It's never the logic of the workflow mapping of transformation
Exactly.
initiatives. It's these things that are more about people, org
Yep.
effectiveness, that take the transformation efforts down. And here we have a list of the 8 things that are the common reasons why transformation efforts, more than 70% of them, are likely to not come in on point, on time, on budget. Things
Right.
like there's not a sense of urgency. Like, people don't know why this needs to be done in the first place. Or there's a weak guiding coalition or team. There's not confidence and trust in whoever is leading this transformation initiative. These are the reasons why transformation efforts go down. And so one of the things that we do inside of our framework is to help you to understand that you're through what we call the Rejuvi risk management analytics, the actual presence of these things inside of your transformation effort. Because if you know, for example, that there is not trust or confidence in the team that's leading this transformation effort, then you can do something about that. Do you know what I mean, Vid? It's such a critical piece of a
Yep.
modern leadership approach to
Yep.
transformation efforts.
Yeah, and it is, and when you said that whole tools, technologies, ways of working, process, and people, oftentimes there's a reason, there's a method to the madness as to why these things don't land on budget, time, and scope, is because there's hyper focus on only 2 of those 3 elements, and it's typically the tools and it's the process, hardly
Yes.
ever the people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you just said that a minute ago, that it's never because of the technology and it's never because of the ways of working. It's mostly these people. It's because it gets the least amount of attention. And there's
Yes.
a reason why it gets the least amount of attention is because honestly, we would argue at Rejuvi, we would offer up the hypothesis that people are never included as part of the discussion because it's just considered too big a task and nobody knows how to get started,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
what we're saying is, if you take the beachhead breakthrough kind of analogy over here, that's why I love the resource, is that, yeah, no, there is a way to structure yourself. There is a way to get involved in something, bigger than you by
Mm-hmm.
really taking biteable pieces. And those biteable pieces are, we know the risk to fail from a people standpoint is these 8 things. And better yet, we know based on our data and analytics that we can tie metrics or improvements to those 8 things and
Mm-hmm.
start monitoring them over time. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just wanted to add that
Yeah,
couple of thoughts there.
I love that vid, and I just think it's so important for, when we think about something like this, risk management analytics, they have to be present inside of modern transformation efforts.
Yeah,
Why? Because we know that these things are likely to take a transformation effort down. And so that's why when you come to one of Rejuvi's roadmaps for establishing a beachhead somewhere on something inside of your organization, we always start out with this piece called the framework, like how to think about doing this successfully in a modern way so you don't get the same results of the past. That's the
right.
framework piece. And Vid, I love how you started talking about this very simple application method, people, process, and pipes. So I'm just going to go there for a moment, but it's not just having the idea or having that framework for how to do this differently and in a modern way. It's knowing how to actually apply it. So you actually win the beachhead, right? You
Yeah,
actually establish that
exactly.
foothold. And so we talk about that in terms of the application. And I'm just going to go really quickly here. It does mean doing things different from a people perspective. And to do things differently from a people perspective, you have to think about individual and team success, because ultimately you want to manage user enablement, right?
Yeah,
And you have to think about org success. You've got to manage that risk that we just talked about so that you can get to business adoption. And what that means then is, just like with other beachheads that we help you to establish using the Rejuvi platform, like how do I start a cohort based coaching process inside of my organization for team leaders, you can also get a critical path for how you take our framework and actually start to do change leadership differently in any single transformation initiative. We're not going into too much detail here, but
yeah,
we recommend there's 6 steps to
yeah,
the modern change leadership critical path. In 2 of them, you'll see that they've got kind of a double whammy, kind of a critical path, and then kind of something highlighted in the back. There's some options for everyone, right? But
yeah.
you're just following this pattern. You're using the platform to help you get it done. And all of these little pictures at the bottom, it just means that you're picking up parts and pieces of the 6 times awesome. Like, when are you baselining? When are you deltaing? When are you training? When are you differentiating one type of leadership from another? All of those things come to roost here in a very prescribed sort of way for modern change leadership.
Exactly.
Yep. So that is the critical path that helps you to apply modern leadership to a transformation effort inside of your organization. That application is based on a very modern framework, and that modern framework really is designed to help you to establish that beachhead initiative.
Yep.
So I'm going to stop sharing here for just a moment. And yes, okay, I've got the right screen here. So that's it, right? Rock, paper, scissors, product, no, excuse me, feature, process,
Process or
or
resource. Yep.
resource. I think that the best way that anyone who has access to the Rejuvi platform to establish a beachhead is just to use one of our blueprints,
Yep.
one of our roadmaps, one of our predict and guides that allow you to say, oh, here's how I take one place inside of my organization that is in desperate need of modern leadership right now. And if we don't get that modern leadership infused into that thing right now, we're going to have problems in terms of actually moving forward on that priority for our business. Establish your beachhead right there.